In the heart of Israel, in the land of Benjamin, a child was born to Kish, a man of wealth and influence. This child was Saul, a boy destined for greatness. As he grew, Saul became known for his impressive stature and striking appearance, qualities that set him apart from his peers. He was head and shoulders taller than any of his brethren, and his presence commanded attention wherever he went. Saul's early life was marked by simplicity and service. He tended to his father's herds, a role that instilled in him a deep understanding of the land and its people. Little did he know that these humble beginnings were preparing him for a destiny far grander than he could ever imagine. Chapter 2. Chosen by God. The tribes of Israel had long been governed by judges, but the people yearned for a king to lead them into battle and unify the nation. God heard their cries and set his sights on Saul. He instructed the prophet Samuel to seek out the young man from Benjamin, for Saul was to be the first king of Israel. One day, as Saul was searching for his father's lost donkeys, he encountered Samuel. The prophet, guided by God, recognized Saul immediately. In a private ceremony, Samuel anointed Saul with oil, declaring, "Has not the Lord anointed you ruler over his inheritance?" This act marked the beginning of Saul's divine appointment, though it remained a secret for a time. Chapter 3. The public selection. Despite the private anointing, Saul's journey to kingship was not yet complete. Samuel gathered all the tribes of Israel at Mizpah to publicly select their king. The process was elaborate, involving the casting of lots. Tribe by tribe, family by family, the lot narrowed until it fell upon Saul, the son of Kish. Saul, overcome with humility and perhaps a bit of fear, was found hiding among the baggage. When he was brought forth, his remarkable height and handsome appearance impressed the people. Samuel proclaimed, "Do you see the man the Lord has chosen? There is no one like him among all the people." And the people shouted, "Long live the king!" Chapter 4. Victory over the Ammonites. Saul's early reign was soon tested. Nahash the Ammonite besieged the city of Jabesh-Gilead, demanding harsh terms of surrender. In desperation, the men of Jabesh sent messengers throughout Israel, seeking help. When Saul heard the news, the Spirit of God came upon him mightily. He rallied the Israelites with a sense of urgency and purpose. Saul mustered an army and launched a surprise attack on the Ammonites at dawn, utterly defeating them. This victory solidified his position as king and earned him the loyalty and admiration of his people. At Gilgal, Saul was reaffirmed as king, and the people celebrated with great joy and sacrifices before the Lord. Chapter 5. Establishment of the kingdom. With the kingdom now firmly under his control, Saul set about establishing his rule. He built a standing army and created a centralized government. His leadership brought a semblance of stability and order to the fledgling nation. Saul's reign was marked by continuous warfare, especially against the Philistines, who were a constant threat to Israel. His military campaigns were largely successful, expanding Israel's territory and influence. Saul's ability to lead his people in battle and govern the land earned him respect and solidified his legacy as Israel's first king. Chapter 6. War with the Philistines. Among the many conflicts that marked Saul's reign, the ongoing war with the Philistines was particularly significant. The Philistines were a formidable foe, equipped with superior weaponry and chariots. Saul and his army faced numerous battles, each one a test of their courage and resolve. One notable encounter occurred at Michmash. The Philistines had assembled a vast army, and fear gripped the hearts of the Israelites. Saul waited at Gilgal for Samuel to offer a sacrifice to seek God's favor before engaging in battle. However, as the days passed and Samuel did not arrive, Saul grew impatient. Taking matters into his own hands, he offered the sacrifice himself, a decision that would have dire consequences. Chapter 7. Disobedience to God. Saul's decision to offer the sacrifice without waiting for Samuel marked the beginning of his downward spiral. When Samuel finally arrived, he rebuked Saul, saying, "You have done a foolish thing. You have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. If you had, he would have established your kingdom over Israel for all time. But now your kingdom will not endure." Despite this warning, Saul continued to act independently of God's commands. His most grievous act of disobedience occurred during a campaign against the Amalekites. God, through Samuel, instructed Saul to completely destroy the Amalekites and all their possessions. However, Saul spared King Agag and kept the best of the livestock, claiming they were for sacrifices. Chapter 8. Rejection by God. Samuel confronted Saul once again, and this time the consequences were severe. Samuel declared, "Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king." Samuel then turned and left Saul, signaling a rift that would never heal. Saul's rejection by God was a turning point in his reign. Though he continued to rule, the favor of the Lord had departed from him. This marked the beginning of a period of instability and decline, both for Saul personally and for the nation of Israel. Chapter 9. Introduction of David. During Saul's troubled reign, a young shepherd named David emerged as a hero. Sent by his father to deliver supplies to his brothers on the battlefield, David arrived just as the giant Philistine warrior Goliath was issuing his daily challenge to the Israelites. David, with unwavering faith in God, volunteered to fight Goliath. Armed with only a sling and a few stones, David struck Goliath down with a single shot, then used Goliath's own sword to kill him. This incredible victory brought David into the limelight and won him the favor of the people, as well as Saul's initial admiration. Chapter 10. Jealousy and Decline. David's growing popularity and success in battle soon aroused Saul's jealousy. The women of Israel sang, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." This refrain stoked the flames of Saul's envy and paranoia. He saw David as a threat to his throne and sought to eliminate him. Saul's attempts on David's life were numerous and relentless. He threw a spear at David, plotted to have him killed in battle, and even pursued him through the wilderness. Despite these efforts, David always managed to evade capture, further frustrating Saul. Chapter 11. Tormented by an evil spirit. Saul's jealousy and disobedience opened the door for an evil spirit to torment him. This spirit caused Saul great distress, and his servants suggested finding someone who could play the harp to soothe him. David, already known for his musical talents, was brought to the court. David's harp playing brought temporary relief to Saul's troubled mind, but the underlying issues remained. The king's mental state continued to deteriorate, and his actions became increasingly erratic and violent. Chapter 12. Friendship with Jonathan. Amidst the turmoil of Saul's reign, a remarkable friendship blossomed between David and Jonathan, Saul's eldest son. Jonathan recognized David's God-given destiny and loved him as his own soul. The two made a covenant, pledging loyalty and support to one another. Jonathan's loyalty to David often put him at odds with his father. Despite knowing that David would one day take the throne, Jonathan remained faithful to him, even helping David escape Saul's murderous plots on several occasions. This friendship is one of the most poignant aspects of Saul's story, highlighting the stark contrast between Saul's jealousy and Jonathan's selflessness. Chapter 13. The Witch of Endor. As Saul's reign neared its end, his desperation reached new heights. Facing an impending battle with the Philistines and unable to receive guidance from God, Saul sought out a medium, the Witch of Endor, to summon the spirit of Samuel. Disguising himself, Saul approached the witch and asked her to bring up Samuel. To her shock and fear, Samuel's spirit appeared. Samuel foretold Saul's doom, declaring that the Lord had turned against him and that both Saul and his sons would fall in battle the next day. This prophecy filled Saul with dread, confirming his worst fears. Chapter 14. The Battle of Mount Gilboa. The final chapter of Saul's life unfolded on the slopes of Mount Gilboa. The Philistines attacked with overwhelming force, and the Israelite army was routed. Saul's sons, including Jonathan, were killed in the fierce fighting. Wounded and fearing capture, Saul asked his armor-bearer to kill him. When the armor-bearer refused, Saul took his own sword and fell upon it. His armor-bearer, seeing Saul dead, did likewise. Thus ended the reign of Israel's first king, a tragic and tumultuous saga marked by both great promise and profound failure. Chapter 15. The Legacy of Saul. Saul's death marked the end of an era for Israel. Though his reign was fraught with challenges and missteps, Saul's story is a testament to the complexities of leadership and the human condition. He was a man chosen by God, yet undone by his own flaws and disobedience. Saul's legacy lived on through his descendants and the lessons learned from his reign. His story set the stage for the rise of David, a man after God's own heart, who would build upon Saul's foundation to establish a united and enduring kingdom. In the end, Saul's life serves as a poignant reminder of the consequences of straying from God's path and the importance of humility and obedience in the face of divine calling. His story, though tragic, is an integral part of the tapestry of Israel's history, illustrating the enduring struggle between human ambition and divine will.